Can you explain why planets tilt?
Yes, there are many factors what you call the planets to tilt. We got to take every single factor, to comprehend the whole picture of this tilting process. The biggest two factors are concentration of the energy and the density. Either one, when it's decreasing, and it's actually it's generating the energy, the farthest end of the this end, whatever it travels, how far, depend how it could be, what, 5 miles away, or 5 million miles away, or 10 million miles away, depend how far they travel out of the inner core. And to comprehend that, we got to take every single planet at the time within our solar system and check it out, all the facts, and that should give us enough clue to comprehend what is happening. Okay, let's go. Our first planet, and the first planet is the Mercury, which one I call it's like a time capsule, dinosaur egg, the one never been hatched. You know why I call that? Because check it out. It has very smooth surface, and has a large inner core. When I looked at it first time, that picture of the Mercury, it gave me so much clues, so much that I was able to comprehend that all the planets, when you look every single planet within solar system, even the moons, doesn't matter how large they are, larger, the largest stars in the universe or smallest moon in the universe, all they form the same way, no exception to the rule. And look, the inner core is large and has a thin layer of outer crust. Now, when we check the Mercury, it has a 0-degree tilt. Days are 58 days compared to the Earth's 1 day, and the closest distance to the sun is 29 miles, and the farthest distance is 44 miles. It travels elliptical shape. Now, why is that? What's the cause? Why it's happening that? Now, let me give you the comparison Earth to the sun. We know that, from the surface of the Earth all the way to the upper level, 59 miles above into the space, we have gravity density. And after 59 miles, sun will lose in the density. And the same thing is the sun. You have to understand, larger the inner core, larger the density, larger the concentration, larger the density. Now the sun has very dense gravitational force within first ring of its orbit. And that's why the Mercury, it doesn't tilt even though it has, 0.378 gravitational force compared to the Earth or the whole point. And it doesn't matter, even the planet Mercury has very low gravitational force, but the sun's density is so high, it's able to detect and it penetrate closer, to Mercury's gravitational force and keep it exactly on a 0 degree. Okay, now let's take another planet in a row. Which one is the planet Venus? And you can see already big difference between two planets. Planet Venus, the average distance 67.2 miles, a million miles away from sun, and you can see already big difference. That planet tilted on 177 degrees, and it got stuck like that, and plus it traveled the opposite of all planets. With another clip, I'll go even lot deeper details. Why is that? Why that planet travels the opposite direction? It's all about energy. It's all about energy. And I believe that the planet, has less gravitational force than what the scientists they were able to measure out the surface of that planet, because that planet within close surface has high. It calls Hg, which one it caused because of the high temperatures on the surface of that planet. It would be very difficult to know exact gravitational force of that planet. And if we be able to measure the upper level and compare to Earth, we might be able to get exact gravitational force on that planet. But I believe it's a lot less than 0.92, the gravitational force on that planet. And the next one, it's our planet Earth, which one is average 93 million miles away from sun, and we have 24-hour spin over the axis. And within our inner solar system, the Earth is the only planet that has a satellite planet, which one we call Moon. And just lately, I heard, the NASA announced that, there was possibility of 2 moons that too far from the reality. That can, because let me explain you why. Because in every single planet, if they have a certain gravitational force on the surface, it doesn't end that gravitational force right over the surface or just a million miles away from that surface. It travels as far as it can travel. And Mr. Einstein, he could have been right if he said that gravitational force curves, not the photons. Photons, they don't curve. The gravitational force curves because the gravity is energy and it has ability to pull or to push. But the sun's photons, they're not energy. It's actually depart from the surface of the sun and goes one direction only. And it lands over there, whatever it can go as far as has force to it to travel. And my next video clip about our inner space, I'm going to go into details exactly what is happening there. Okay, and again, I said, that will be far from the truth. It's impractical to have 2 moons within our Earth's orbit. The one reason, because every single planet, their energy, even you see our moon trapped within our Earth gravitational force, the Earth has no other choice than hold on to the moon, and that moon's energy can travel all the way close to the inner core and pass the curve just right over the inner core without penetrating. It cannot possibly penetrate inner core because inner core is highly concentrated energy itself. But it curves over the inner core, and even the moon, we see in American, you see toward the United States, but the energy still existing, toward Asia or or exactly the opposite side of the Earth. Because the moon's energy, I said again, it will travel at least another million miles away from the inner core of the moon. Okay, and that's why I said that's impractical to say that 2 moons possibility. Now the next planet within our solar system is planet Mars, which is 142 million miles away from Sun, and we know that Mars has only 0.376 gravitational force, and the days are close to our Earth. It's almost like a 42 million longer than the Earth's. And the tilt, now the tilt is, here is something which one it's kind of amazing, and I will explain the reason why. You see Earth tilt 23.4, but the Mars tilt 25.5. The reason why, because here is the only time mass cause interference, time of the tilting. Because the bigger it is the mass, the more inertia it causes like an inertia. It's like the inner cores, they have a hard time to stop fast enough not to go more than what they tilting. The only reason, again, I said, the inner core, it cannot hold. You gotta see the mass, how much mass each planet has. You see, the Earth has whole gravitational force, and it tilts, 23.4. But the Mars has, 376 gravitational force, and it tilts close to Earth. Again, because how much interference each inner core has from their mass. The mass, that's what is causing the tilting point.